What's up, guys? Welcome back to Evolve. I'm taking my pretty standard build here. One in Leap Strike, one in Flame Breath, one in Charge, and then I'm going to go ahead and take Smell Range here on the dam with the Goliath. I really don't know if a lot of people were using Smell Range during the alpha, but it's something that I really did enjoy using. It was really fun to make plays when you have that information of where the hunters are. You can see if one's getting a little bit away from the pack of the other hunters, or you can see if they're going in one direction, and maybe you can juke back with Sneak and lose them for a really long period of time. You can really see and get a lot of information with that increased 30% on Smell Range. It's a really good perk, in my opinion. Considering Smell Range is already such a big radius, having an extra 30% is a really big increase. You can see a good half of the map. So as always here, we're going to go ahead and create some distance with leaping 3 times and doing a charge. That's about the best distance you can get. Is you leap twice, you do a charge, and then you'll have, or you leap 3 times, do a charge, and then you'll have a 4th leap up, I think, is how it works. I did startle some birds here. Not the biggest deal in the world, though. I should have a good amount of distance where I can at least get up around half of my armor before the first person really catches me out. So now is where I kind of need to start moving at least a little bit, and if they have picked up on my trail, they should be closing in fairly soon. People aren't amazing at tracking yet, but against good hunter teams, they should be rounding that corner anytime. That's why you see me constantly smelling and checking behind me, is because I know they could be coming. So I'm going to be a little bit greedy here, because I saw wildlife fighting other wildlife. What basically is going to happen is you can see that the one corpse that wildlife killed is already able to be eaten. So if I do manage to kill this, I can get a good 7 meat out of these 2 corpses, which is really good, and I can get a really early quick evolve if I want to. Unless I see the hunters closing in on me, which then I'd probably take a trade, but I don't really see anyone when I smell here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to one of the spots that I evolved quite a bit on this map. And I'm not sure if it's really the best area, because I tend to get caught out here a lot. I haven't really died ever here, but I tend to get into some bad situations, but it is difficult for the hunters to get up to you while you're evolving. That's the one thing that I do like about it, because this cliff right here is a pretty high up for hunters to get up onto. So if they're not closing in on you right away, they can't really get up before you can finish evolving. The problem here is when hunters are closing in, there's not really any direction to run except for past them. So you have to hope that the trapper isn't in a great position, because you can get caught out here without the most amazing terrain to really fight in either. There's that thing in the middle that you can kind of dodge around in this truck, but if you do get domed here, it's not the best situation for you. I tend to go after this guy, and it looks like he was fighting this perk, so he was already low life. So I get a really easy down penalty there, which is good for me. They weren't quite sure where I went. They probably thought I ran past this area. And that's one good thing about that evolve spot, is not many people even know that you can get up there at this point in the alpha. So I do knock that guy away, and I choose not to go for that second down penalty. I'm not even sure if I got it or not. I did have Fire Breath ticking down on him, but I didn't want to get domed with no armor. It's just the safer play to run and get a little bit of armor before I engage. 1 down penalty for the half a bar health that I've taken is still putting me in a great position. So I was going for a little bit of meat there. Unfortunately, they were still keeping eyes on me, so I got tranked and took a little bit of extra damage, but they're actually going to do a pretty good job here at sticking with me for the most part. And it's going to make it a little bit difficult for me to get armored up and be able to get to tier 3. As well as this aggressive wildlife there was stopping me from eating that last piece of meat. I wasn't able to stand there and fight that wildlife, because by the time I killed it, the hunters would have caught up to me. So I just decided to not do it, leave it there, and now the hunters have to get by it, which maybe they'll take a little bit of damage. As you can see, they're taking a little bit of damage from it now, but especially in the early stages of the alpha, a lot of people were fighting the wildlife when they really weren't supposed to be. Now you can see I'm looking for a little bit of a sneak attack if they jump down. It looks like he didn't really jump down the way I wanted him to, so I'm just going to go for a pounce attack and just see what I can do. I don't have a ton of armor, and I think this is one of those fights where you're going to see me using the terrain to my advantage. So when my cooldowns are on cooldown, when I have the two of my abilities right there on cooldown, I just kind of duck in behind these mountains because this is a really actually a decent dome for me. Generally, hunters want you to be in the wide open. Now you can see when I smelled there, you can see all the harpoon traps down on the ground. So I didn't engage there yet. I'm just kind of staying around this area where they have no traps and stuff, and just trying to tick down this timer on the dome as much as possible while not taking damage. So here I'm going to engage in. You notice there that Fire Breath deals damage to harpoons. Unfortunately, I had 3 more of them as I was leaping, so I took a little bit more damage there, but that is something that a lot of Goliath players don't know, is that harpoons and arc mines and everything that kind of gets thrown on the ground that's stationary can be damaged by Flame Breath. So it's really easy to just kind of sweep the area and clear out all of those harpoon traps when you know that they're around. Because I think harpoons are one of the biggest things that can get you in a really bad position as the monster. Also, as the hunter squad there, you don't always want to be kiting back against the monster. Sometimes you want to go under him and try to run back towards your team, because a lot of his abilities are targeted in front of him, right? So if you're running backwards away from me, it's easy for me to stick to you because I have charge and leap strike. But if you run like through my legs, basically, back towards your team, I have to turn around, and if I accidentally use that ability facing the wrong way, I'll just create distance from you, so you can disengage pretty easily that way. You want to constantly be changing your direction against the monster to make it a little bit harder for him to track the one target that he's sticking to. So I don't really have a whole lot of armor. I know the dome's probably still on cooldown, but I'm kind of just trying to get away from them. I was hoping that they would jump over that chasm with jetpack, and I could just circle back around and get a little bit of a sneak going on. Unfortunately, they did catch me, that I was in the water. So again, I'm trying to hide here, hoping that they'll go up or past me, and you can see I'm doing a decent job at keeping them going in the wrong direction, and I'm not sure if one of them spots me or not. Here, I'm just trying to create some distance. Yeah, and they ended up seeing me, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that was a bot that saw me or if it was an actual human, because I think bots will probably see anything that's on their screen, right? And it said, I'm not sure, because it said Markov said something, but I don't know if that happens when it's a player and a bot, or if it's just a bot. I know when a bot's in the game, above their head it only says Markov instead of the actual name, but I'm not sure exactly how that works. Anyway, if that one play right there would have worked out, I would have been able to create a lot of distance and fully armored up, and possibly even went to tier 3 off of that. So little sneak plays like that, when you can get them to just run by you, it's really good. You know, you just have to pay attention to where your tracks are leading. Here's going to be another one coming up right here. I'm going to take one direction, and then I'm going to sneak down this cliff, so it looks like I went through the tunnel, but instead I'm actually just kind of sneaking around on the lower ground and trying to create a little bit of distance and get a little bit of armor. I don't remember exactly how this one pays off, but I think I do manage to get at least a little armor. And then again, I see those birds. I managed to barely not hit them with that leap, so I sneak by them. If you sneak by birds, you can practically sit on top of them, and they will not aggro. There's also birds that come after the fact that you start eating. If you eat while you're, you can finish eating the corpse when they come, and if you sneak by them, they won't fly away instantly. It takes them a little while to set up, I guess. So I have a decent amount of armor. I feel like I could fight someone here. It looks like I catch one person out, and he's fighting wildlife, or at least taking a little bit of damage from wildlife. It's also the medic, so I'm going to definitely be going on this guy and seeing what I can get done. He's definitely really far caught out. Not sure what he's doing this far away from his team, especially as the medic. You really want to stick with your team as the medic because you're such a vital part. So it looks like I might be going for this perk. I don't remember what this perk gives, the actual buff that it gives, but they're all static buffs, so like every single time that's going to be traversal cooldown reduced. So that's basically my leaps, right? Not the leap strike, but just the leaps in general. Those cooldowns will come up 100% faster, which is pretty good for creating distance, but at this point I'm looking to possibly end the game here soon, or at least go to tier 3, maybe get a few down penalties. So there is a down penalty, yeah. I just managed to hit that. The one thing that you have to note about this game is that person there was outside of the circle of my leap strike. But because I have upgraded my Leap Strike AoE, the actual circle at this point in the game at least, it doesn't update that circle. So that circle stays the same for the ability no matter what rank it is. But as you rank it up, you gain like 33% increased radius, which is pretty big. At the point of like having, you know, tier 3, you're pretty much 1.5 of those rings. So even if the person's not right inside of the ring, as long as it's in the general vicinity, you'll still be able to hit with abilities like Leap Strike, Rock Throw, Lightning Strike, other abilities like that. Because the radius is slightly bigger than the circle actually is. So that kind of probably should get updated. It might be one of the reasons why monsters feel so powerful now, is because it's really hard to figure out exactly how big that radius is and how far you have to move. So you can see that was a really amazing leap strike where he didn't even have hardly any time to react. That's one of the best leap strikes I think I've done in the game. There was a couple good ones where I leapt really far and actually landed it, but that one I didn't really have any downtime. I just leapt up to that cliff and landed right on top of him, and he just didn't have any time to react. So there's another pretty good leap strike. A little longer, he probably could have reacted, but he used a lot of jetpack to get away from me initially, so that's why it's good to stick to people for the most part. Unless it's the assault using their shield, then you definitely want to turn your attention to someone else as quickly as possible. But everyone else you can tend to stick on, and then there's certain situations where you'll want to prioritize targets. So again, I'm going to go into this area and go ahead and evolve. I don't feel like I really need to evolve, but I don't know where the last guy ran to, so instead of tracking him down, I might as well take the time to evolve and get some armor up and then go finish the game out that way. So you can see the range on the Fire Breath. It's similar to the range on Leap Smash, but at tier 3 it's 167%, so that's 1.5 times the circle. And I don't think the circle actually gets bigger as you level it up. So that's something that I hope that they fix in the release of the game, or the beta, depending on when the next time is I get to play this. The one thing I actually don't like about tier 3 Goliath is that he gets a lot slower than he is throughout the game. Initially I thought it was when he took damage he started getting slower, but I'm pretty sure it's just when he starts to rank up he gets quite a bit slower. I think it actually does make him feel a little bit weaker overall. His abilities are stronger, and he has like more hit points and more armor, but his speed is definitely a problem. I don't know why they domed here. I'm not sure if I just like run straight into the dome. I think I do, because I'm not worried about losing this game at this point. I have hardly any health damage, and I know they have at least 3 down penalties. The one situation I was talking about prioritizing targets, and the one situation where it does really matter who you prioritize is when the enemy team has Lazarus. If the enemy team has Lazarus, getting just people killed in general will not create down penalties. And you can see how quick this battle is going to go because almost everyone has 2 down penalties on their team. You don't have to finish people off, you just have to knock them down to where they have that skull on the map. And then they'll get one of those little white ticks next to their name where they have 20% less health. And so once they have 2 of those, they'll have 40% less health. That's only 60% of their health. Pretty much one ability can take them down. And then on top of that, they'll go straight to the airplane and won't be able to be revived if they have 2 ticks next to their name. So it's really good to just knock them down and not worry about them after that. Just let them take their down penalties and be good with that.
Towards the middle of the game, over.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty solid victory there. Wasn't really outside. The only time that I was a little worried is when I was hitting stage 2 and they caught me out and they stuck to me pretty decently. But I managed to juke them and get to stage 3 and end the game. So we're going to go ahead and wait until we watch the replay to see how my jukes worked. And then we're going to end the video out there. So as that replay starts up here, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll have more Evolve content in the future. And yeah, that is pretty much it.